Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Got quite a few things going on today. It's a Friday today, and we've got a lot going on. A lot has happened this week in order to push us further down the road in making progress on multiple fronts. So last you saw me, I was milling some flooring, and that all went well, and then things started to snowball to the point where I have so much stuff here to work on right now. It's almost unmanageable. But so first of all, you can see behind me, I dropped another oak tree. So we're going to be making some more flooring. Before that happens, though, I have to re-level the track on my mill because the size of that oak log, or I should say the oak tree that I milled last time, definitely knocked it out of level. Just the weight of that pounding as I'm flipping the cant and things like that, it just knocked it out of level. So we've got to, I've got to spend some time leveling that track out. That's basically that silver part right there. So I have a clamp that I use to keep the mill from moving when it's windy out and stuff like that. So it's not like just sliding up and down the rail while I'm not here, or you know, whatever. So if I would take the clamp off right now, the mill would actually just slide. There's no wind out here right now, but the mill would actually just slide and come down, probably stop, probably right in about this area here. And I'll be able to show you once I start on that part of the project. I can give you a look straight down it, and you can see it's just got a little bit of a hump to it. Not much, only about a maybe quarter to a half inch, something like that, but it definitely matters. So we've got to address that. I've also have an upgrade coming. You guys that have been watching for a while have seen me complain about shorter logs, 8-foot logs that almost roll off the back. Well, I've solved that problem, and we'll talk about that when it comes time to get the mill up and going. Of those list of things that I'm trying to chop off in my head to talk to you guys about, I also went down yesterday and picked up insulation. And you might have seen in the thumbnail, but I'll try and put it in the video right here. That's what the trailer looked like when I left the supply house down there. It was a dicey ride home, to say the least, but there's really no traffic out here, and you know, everybody just kind of sees it and they understand what's going on. So it was quite comical, if you ask me. So while I was down there, I also picked up the last couple things. I need to string the power from the main panel into the sub panel. So I needed some Schedule 80 conduit to come out of the main panel. I needed some breakers, a couple 100-amp breakers, and then a couple fittings, just some male adapter fittings and things like that, because I rented a trencher and I'm going down to pick it up today, and we're going to have it for the weekend. So I'm going to trench out all of the area that I need to lay the wire from the main panel to the sub panels, at least from, well, I'm going to lay in all three. I'm going to lay in cabin 1, 2, and 3. Cabin 2 will just come out and kind of curl around the ground. You know, I've obviously have nothing down there right now to put that into, but 1 I can hook up and give power to, as well as 3. So that's pretty exciting, if you ask me. So that's really going to be first thing on the list this morning, because that is a rental, and you know, I only have it for a finite time. Granted, it is the weekend, but I just don't know what, you know, I don't know how quick the machine's going to work. We may have some rain coming in, so I may be out working in the rain. You know, it's just one of those things where I don't know what I don't know, and yeah, we're just going to work through it. So that's going to be first on the list. I have to clear, there are some logs where I want to run the wire to. I've got to, you know, clear the area. I've got to run the wire down there, the spool of wire, and just basically get kind of set up for that. And then we can kind of move on to some other things. But right now, the cabins 1 and 3 are basically stuffed with insulation, and you know, I can always do that in my spare time, put insulation up in the ceiling and then down underneath the floor. So quite a bit going on. This weekend's going to be busy, and then, you know, you throw on top of it here behind me, milling some more flooring. It's going to be a busy weekend. So glad you guys are here. Let's get it going. All right, guys, we're down here in front of cabin 3. Let me just get you a peek inside here. You can already see the red bags and everything kind of stuffed in here. That R23 stuff is for the floor there, and then the R30 there in the back is for the ceiling. So both cabins, 1 and 3, kind of look like this now. It's just one of those things where, you know, I got to get it out of the weather, and there's no place else to put it. So, but let's take a look at what we're going to do here this weekend primarily. So I've got my, as I see it sitting here, let me talk to you about this. So this is a Schedule 80 2.5-inch PVC pipe. It's almost embarrassing how much this thing costs, a piece of plastic. And it's crazy. It's crazy. If you have a guess, like without Googling or anything like that, what would you think like a 2.5-inch Schedule 80 pipe would cost? Let me know in the comments. It'd be interesting to hear what you think. So basically what's got to happen, so this pipe is going to be cut. It's going to come out of the main service panel here, come straight down into the ground. I'm going down 3 feet, okay? And then I'm going to trench, basically going to trench along where this yellow electrical line is. So you can see this, it's really the most direct route to get down towards cabin 1, but you see as the line goes down, it goes through that stack of wood. So I got to move that stack of wood so that I can get in between these 2 trees right here and get down to cabin 1. So this will be the route for cabin 1 as well as cabin 2. So once I get down to this point here, obviously cabin 1 will go around and sneak around the back. Cabin 2 will just kind of branch off here to the left. And like I said before, I'm just going to leave that extended on this side. It's one of these things where, you know, I don't really know the layout of cabin 2, but by doing this, I'm determining that the electrical panel will be attached to this wall here. I might take a more in-depth look at that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So I need to move these rounds here. I'm not going to move them far. Again, you know how much I really enjoy moving stuff just to move stuff, but we'll probably keep it relatively close here, just so we can get the trencher through this area. So let's knock this out. Just on a side note, it's always interesting. People, there's a church across the street here. Of course, we're in Western North Carolina here. We got a Baptist church on just about every corner. It's like a Starbucks in a city, but they're all over the place. And the one behind me here is kind of not a large parking lot. They probably get 20 or 30 cars in there. But near the church, there is a geocache. I don't know if any of you guys are geocachers or not, but people, a lot of times they drive around, they see these churches, they want to see, you know, the history and stuff of it and things like that, which is all well and good. But every so often you get a geocacher that stops in, they pull in, and then you see them walking around, usually holding their phone, looking down at their phone, because it's got a geolocation service to it. And they walk around and they can find these little geocaches. Well, one just happened. There was a couple that pulled up, and you could tell by what was going on that the wife or girlfriend was the primary driver of this little adventure, this little side adventure. They pulled off the road. They stopped. People always stopping down there at the church. They usually let traffic by and all sorts of other stuff anyway. But these guys got out and they were just loud, talking loud, kind of excitedly and things like that. So I see the woman out of the car with her phone yelling things to her husband like, "Ooh, check over there. Ooh, check over there. Ooh, look in here." And it's so funny. I'm so glad she found it, because there was an audible woohoo come from the church area. And it's so funny. It's just so funny. People drive around and they do that. They get all excited about it. And the funny thing is, inside this geocache, it's a pill bottle. Okay, so it's the little brown pill bottle, like from a doctor's office or whatever, or the pharmacy. There's like a pencil sharpener in it, an eraser, just, weird little odds and ends and stuff. But it's these folks that go out and do this, they get a lot of pleasure out of finding these little caches that are hidden around. And it was just funny to hear that experience. I really heard the whole thing from them getting out of the car, going, no, it's somewhere around here. They mentioned a church, because they put all sorts of clues and stuff on where it is and stuff. It's it's really funny, but I'm glad she found it. If you happen to be watching this video, which I highly doubt, but congratulations. On to the next one, right? All right, guys, let's get to work. Well, guys, not too bad of a process there. As you saw, I just kind of moved them over here in front of cabin 1 a little bit. I expect to, both that pile and that pile that's over there, those are all going to be there until I get a splitter and start splitting this stuff up. So hopefully that's the last time we'll have to move it. I was really anticipating on getting a snake. That wood has been there for, a little decent while, and I thought there'd be a snake in there. It is copperhead season. Keep hearing on the news about how, the baby copperheads are out and everything, but haven't seen any yet. In fact, I've only seen one here one time on the whole property, so I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure, but more black snakes really than anything else. So I threw the wire back in there, just give me a decent visual on where this trench is going to go. So I think this is all set. It's about 10:30 right now. Probably going to wait till about noon or so to go grab that. So I unloaded the wire. I don't know what a 500-foot roll of wire weighs, but it's not light. I can tell you that. So yeah, I think we're all ready to go down here to start running that trencher. I really can't think of anything else that really kind of needs to be done in order to prep for that. Okay, so let's head up the hill. Let me start leveling out my track for my mill, because I could probably spend some time milling some lumber here. Let's do it. So I've been horsing around here with the camera trying to get you guys a decent view of what this actually looks like and how out of level this is. And so I'm zoomed in. It seems like zooming in allows me to kind of do a little bit more with it. But you can see really right at this first bunk here that pretty good drop here. This is I guess the left side as I'm looking down towards the cutter end down there. But that's just a, good example of how out of level this is. There, that's a decent view right there. So we got to get that straightened out. So I'm going to have to undo basically all these bolts along here just to kind of loosen it up. Then I'll probably just use the bolts on the legs to just kind of push that back up. So yeah, that's a good view right there to see kind of how that is. So let's get on it. Well, I just discovered what threw my mill here out of level. So this is the first bunk here. This is generally the bunk where this is the end of the track where the saw head starts and works to our right as we're looking at it here. So you can see this here. Try and get out of the light here. You can see this here, this is level across here. This bolt comes up through and it's got a bolt on the top and the bottom, and this is flat, all right? Look at here, remember I told you, or I showed you, bunk 2 is where things really got out of level. Let's go over here and take a look. Well, this is what bunk 2 looks like. So you can see that this is obviously warped. This where this was pinched here in between these two bolts, this was pushed down on both sides, and this is no longer level, which obviously this part here, and this part here, this goes up to the main part of the mill, and obviously that's what threw this out of level. So bouncing that large oak, spinning that cant on the saw head here, this is definitely a issue for sure. I don't see any, let's see if I can get in there a little bit. I don't see any fracturing of the oh yeah, I do. Okay, they're in the back. Let's see if we can get in there. But right there, kind of towards the middle, I'm not sure if that's focused. I got the sun behind me and I can't see my screen really. But it does not look good. So it looks like the bolt is actually trying to push through the metal to come up. So I got a little more work to do. Obviously now this metal here is compromised. You can actually see here this connection is bent here at the bottom as it comes down. So even if I bang these flat again, they're definitely going to be compromised. It's not going to take much to bend them back to this position here. So not only is this one bent here on the same bunk on the other side, this one as well is bent up. So let's go look. Oh yeah. So these two are bent. I just took a look over here at the next bunk. Let's see if I can't zoom in and show you. And there, that's bunk number 3. So they're all bent. They're all bent. And that's just based on that large log that was on here. So, yeah, looks like I got to get some parts. Like I said, I could straighten these out, but I don't know. I'll think about it. But that's the issue. Well, I just went and removed one of these legs here. It turns out I have 6 legs that are like this, and it's obviously all within the area of where the cant was turned, or where the wood sits, I guess. So that should be flat there, level. So I sent Norwood a picture and an email asking them if they had something a little bit more robust than this. Not sure what their response is going to be, but I'm going to hammer this flat. Again, this is the metal is already weak. I'm not really anticipating that to be a permanent fix. I'm probably going to have to order new legs, but if this is the case, I'm really going to have to be careful when I am loading and turning cants and things like that. So just word to the wise out there, take a look at the bottom of your legs if you're turning large logs. Okay, so I just hammered this section of it flat, okay? So they got all that bend out of it. And you can see here on the end as well, these vertical sections, this is bent out here. It's got a little bit of a flex in it. And then the other side here, you can see this is bent as well. Right here. So again, this is hammering this section here flat is really only a temporary fix. I have some, so this looks like it might be 1/8 inch thick steel here. What I might do to try and add a little bit of support to this bottom section here, I have got some flat stock that is quite a bit thicker than 1/8. I don't know if that's 3/16 or not, but I might just cut some shims out of this and put underneath of those legs just to provide some support, you know, kind of underneath there. I don't know if that'll help. I think anything is better than nothing at this point. So let's see what we come up with. But I've got 6 of these legs, so I don't want to take the whole mill apart, so I'm probably going to have to end up doing these one at a time. All right, guys, got a somewhat of a plan of attack here for temporarily fixing this issue. So here's the thing. So I have bent legs on bunk number 2, 3, and 4. Obviously, this is the section where the log primarily sits. So bunks 5, 6, and number 1 up there aren't damaged at all. So I'm going to rob Peter to pay Paul here. I'm going to swap out these 6 with these 6. There's 2 there, 2 back here, and then 2 more right here. So going to play a little shuffleboard with it. I mean, even though I know I'm going to nail everything, or I should say I'm going to hammer everything flat, but the abused ones, I guess you can call it that, will be back here, really in an area that's not going to have large logs kind of flipped on it. So, you know, starting tomorrow or this afternoon, whenever, these 3 bunks here will be level again with new-ish legs attached to it. And yeah, we'll see what Norwood has to say. So I was going to put a little piece of metal. I have some stock. I already showed you this little piece of stock I have here, but I don't have a way to drill a 5/8 hole through that metal. I don't have a bit that large, and you know, that's quite a, yeah, I don't have a drill press, you know, stuff like that, but I could do it with my drill. Anyway, I had one that I used. It was a hardened bit, but it's what I used to put in the concrete anchor, so it doesn't drill at all. unless you're into concrete right now. So, you know, it is what it is. So I got to go with what I got. But it is about lunchtime, so I think I'm going to probably swap out this one leg, and then I got to head down and pick up my trencher. So this is going to have to wait for a little bit. Well, it's about 4 in the afternoon here. Just got back and dropped off the trencher here. We're going to get rolling. I got some spray paint marks on the ground to kind of help me with orienting where I need to go at a quick glance. I can see if I need to turn or anything like that. But I'll probably stay, I don't know, a couple feet away from the main service panel here, just because I have the main service coming underground to here. So I'll probably start, you know, 2 or 3 feet behind that here, or I should say on this side of it, just so I don't run into any issues. Well, let's get it going. Well, I've been going now about 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes or so, and really covered more ground than I thought I would. It's really been great so far. Had some issues here at the very beginning because it doesn't really show on camera here, but this is a little bit of a slope here, so the dirt that was getting piled up on this side was falling back into the hole. So that's why you saw me shovel a little bit back out of there, but it definitely made a difference as I got past the slope and it kind of leveled out. The dirt just stayed piled on that side and was able to work itself over. So just threw a tape measure in there and we were damn near close to 3 feet down, so we are happy with that. The only thing that's going to come through here in the future is the water line is going to come down the hill. So as long as I don't, when I put the water line in, which will probably be about maybe about 20 inches or so, as long as that doesn't get down into this, you know, the power that I'm going to be running here, will be just fine. So water line down the hill, because cabins 4 and 5, their septic is going to go that way to a tank on the other side of the driveway just over there. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to have a line coming this way as well. This is where cabin 3 is going to get its power. But so I stopped right now and I am just kind of repositioning. So I'll do kind of a, I don't know, 45-degree turn right there. I want to get down in between these two trees, as close to in between them as I can. to give each tree, you know, a chance to survive. I only ran into one issue. You saw me maybe throw a big root out. I wouldn't really say that was an issue, but I did have, I think what was a big root that I kind of had to go back and forth a couple times with to get it out. So, yeah, but no problem, and we are just trucking along, so let's keep moving. All right, guys, I went ahead and finished up here down towards cabin 1 and cabin 2. Really couldn't have turned out much better. Now, there is definitely some handwork that's got to be done. There is some debris that falls back in the hole, but you know, I'm fine with that. Majority of it is out of the hole, especially like this junction here. There was quite a bit of material that fell back inside there. So this is the lead here for cabin 2, and then this here with cabin 1 comes back in here, really almost just below the box there, because I know there's nothing back here. So I got the ground wire out of the way and then just went ahead and did that. So yeah, you can see here quite a bit of material. A bunch of these junctions is where a lot of that material has fallen back inside. Here's another good view of some stuff that's inside there. So definitely some handwork that's got to be done, but I tell you what, this would have taken me 4 days to dig, especially, I mean, it's only 5 or 6 inches wide. There's no way I could have done that with a shovel. So I see some taillights up there. I got some visitors. Let me go check on this. Okay, but all in all, overwhelming success. Another great thing, if you're ever thinking about renting one of these, it's a fantastic little purchase, or a little rental for sure. So set up here tomorrow. The only one I have to do then is here for cabin 3, which comes along this side here where the machine is. And then, you know, up towards, it'll join back up with the main line here. Okay, my sun's going down, must be late. It's about 6:40 or so in the evening. So I can't remember when I started. Was that 4:50? I can't remember. Well, this is only a couple hours of work, so there are definitely some little tidbits about it. Just to hit you up real quick here while it's on my mind. The side, there's a screw on the side that pushes the dirt. You want that side to be the downhill side if you can make that happen. That definitely improves the functionality of the machine. You'll also want to pull downhill. Gravity obviously does nothing but help you in that situation. I ran into an incident over there by cabin 1 where I was coming back up towards the camera, and it was just, a lot of the weight was on the front and it really didn't want to move. So, you know, I had to work it a little bit, but it definitely works best if you were dragging downhill and your debris, your primary debris pile is on the other side. If you have one that has screws on both sides, you know, don't worry about it. It would certainly be an upgraded machine if something had that, but it's just the one I have, and I am not complaining. All right, gang. Hey, it's only Friday, and we are way ahead of what I thought we would be. So there's going to be quite a bit getting accomplished this weekend. I'm pretty excited about it, and yeah, I'm glad you guys are here for the journey. I see my insulation poking out back there. I see you. All right, guys. Hey, that's all we're gonna do today. I'll try and get as much as I can tomorrow and then Sunday, and we'll just keep rolling this thing on. We'll see y'all.